what fame did to me like in my 20s and like having like feeling really agoraphobic about things, so how it caused some depression and some anxiety and things like that. And I've dealt with that my whole life. I talked to a PTSD counselor. I talked to a lot of people about this kind of stuff.
Let's talk about this movie. It's called Spree. It's out on demand in theaters on August 14th. When you first read this script, I mean, what went through your mind?
So I was in the middle of doing The Hills, and I had a lot of drama going on already anyway. And they were like, you know, it's going to be a couple days for her. Like, will you come on out? And we're going to get some other great, like, people like David Arquette. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'm down to clown, because for me, acting is my first love, obviously. And so it was nice just to be back on set and weirdly, like, you know, Lala and I, we connected in a way that I never thought we would, because she's from reality TV, and she was actually able to give me some like really interesting insight into things and like talk to me about it while we were on set. So we actually had a great time in our downtime.
Was she giving you advice just because of like what she's kind of gone through with Vanderpump, and you had been new to The Hills at that time?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, it was just funny, like the mashup between like Joe Keery and then me and David Arquette, and then Lala comes in, and I was like, you know, so she definitely, yeah, she had a few words of advice, I guess you could say that.
What was it like for you to work with Joe Keery? Are you a fan of Stranger Things?
I am a fan of Stranger Things, and he's just such a sweetheart, and like, yeah, it was really great.
You talked a little bit about bonding with Lala, but you also worked with Frankie Grande. So kind of walk me through just that night.
It was great. You know, I mean, we were definitely up all night in the middle of the night in the freezing cold, but it was fun and it was funny. Frankie's such a character, and he's like, you know, always got everybody laughing and everybody in a good mood. So yeah, we had a good time. A lot of laughs were had.
This is what we said we wanted, an adventure.
No, London. Things that we can put on the gram.
Let's talk The Hills New Beginning Season 2, because there was this report a while back that you were not going to be part of it. I talked to Heidi and Spencer, and they were like, she's definitely part of it. So clear the air, like what happened?
The drama. Yeah, I don't know. I really like, you know, there are certain people on the show that, you know, you would be surprised I get along with so well, and some that I don't. I love them all in their own mad ways. There's just like that report that you're talking about, like that had more to do with like bullying, and that's like something that I really don't like stand up for. There was some truth to it that she, like, this person was going to maybe come on the show, and so like I sort of felt like I had egg on my face, because I was like, oh well, it would be nice if people would tell us that, because you know, there's a history, like when you've been around town for a long time, like there are certain people who have been nice to me over the years, and then some other, you know, not so great female energy that gets thrown around. And so like
Caroline?
Yeah, and some of that stuff. So like I was just sort of in the dark, and I didn't really know that that was even a possibility. So I'll leave it at that. I felt like I was left in the dark. All I can say is that like I take like the people I work with and like that kind of bullying aspect and like the lies like quite seriously. But when you get yourself into reality TV, you know that you're gonna have to put up with some of that. Yeah. And you know what, like I seem like very meek all the time, but there are certain things that do get me really angry, and like we're all really like, you know, I'll hold my own on that front, and so I don't care if it's controversial, it's just the way I felt, you know.
I'm glad that you stood up for yourself, but you felt like she was bullying.
It's more in the past. It's more of like, this is like drama from over the years and sort of stuff that maybe didn't get properly resolved when it should have. And so like, you know, that stuff is still like open wounds, and you know, yeah.
Are you gonna be on season 2 though? Is that?
Well, we'll see. I mean, I wonder what's even going on with them in terms of filming. I stay in touch with some of the girls, and I know where everybody is. Well, not everybody, but I know where a few of the girls are right now, and I know that we're all just kind of doing our own thing. Yeah, let's see, like when they can get production back up and going, and what's going to happen with them and everything, you know, and who's going to be on it.
Watching season 1 play out, what was that like for you? Because you don't come from a reality TV background.
It was kind of overwhelming because I kind of thought that they were going to be different to who they were. So it was like definitely a bit of a learning curve. A lot of work, I'll tell you that. We were filming a lot, like that's what happens when you get something back up and running, I think, and people haven't seen each other for a long time. There's so many different personalities there. They've got to get involved with each other again. They've got to they have their own things going on. But there were times when we had a lot of fun and we were genuinely laughing. I think it's just everything happens for a reason. The show started right before a pandemic, and I think, now it'll be interesting to see if everybody has kind of resolved any of their shit and is ready to kind of deal with it face on truly this time around, and maybe be as open and honest as they can be, and maybe there's some stuff that needs to still be talked about.
Yeah. Spidey did say, we talked to them probably around April or May, and they're like, we're still filming. We figured out ways to film in quarantine.
Yeah.
Are you guys filming some of this stuff, or?
I'm not. I've been quarantining and been down here in Florida for quite a while. I think a couple of them are, but that's back. Yeah. So yes. But no, not me.
What would be the biggest difference between season 1 and season 2 in terms of you and what we could potentially see, or what you would want us to see?
It's just sort of an awkward thing between the fact that I have a real career and then there's this just social circle. And so I think the social circle aspect, the way that it was portraying my career was kind of frustrating to me, because it's so hard to actually get inside an actress's life. And so I think that circle of friends really needs to get sorted out, and it needs to become more fluid, and I think it needs to be more fluid. And I think, hopefully the baby bumps of season 1 are over, and everybody is back together now, and they kind of have a better idea of who they are. The one thing that I think would be good is if it was just everybody kind of more together, more real, less everybody fronting so much and it having to be so posed. I would really like to get everybody to just together as genuine friends.
Could we potentially see more of your personal life play out? Is that something that you would want?
Yeah, so I filmed some of that, but for the best, honestly. It did. Honestly, for the best. It didn't make it into the show. I did have a boyfriend, and
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we filmed a little bit, but it's just not everybody is meant for this kind of stuff,
Are you guys still dating or no? No. Are you dating at all?
I'm afraid. Well, that's the thing. Quarantine is so weird. I feel like everybody wants somebody during quarantine, and there's a lot of propositioning going on so that people aren't so lonely. But no, I'm not really seeing anybody. I think now is a good time for people to work on themselves and to maybe given the end of all of this, we'll have a clearer idea of where we all stand, because my ex is quarantining in Australia, I was dating somebody in LA. It's all very dramatic, but for right now I think that concentrating on myself is probably the best thing I could do.
Well, you are a catch, so I get why there's propositions happening. What are you looking for in a relationship?
So my thing now is to try to look for somebody who always makes me laugh, because that's 100% important, especially in our business, is loyal, is not going to stab you in the back, because that's the other thing that you always get around, people who don't genuinely want to be with you for the right reasons. I want somebody who's just really grounded now at this point. I've dated some interesting characters in the past, and all for better or worse, we've had, those are my 20s. I'm looking for somebody who's got more qualities than that now in terms of long term.
Do you have a message to your fans right now? Anything you want to tell them, say to them?
I know these are really weird times, and I've spoken before about feeling really detached, and what fame did to me in my 20s, and having feeling really agoraphobic about things, and these are strange times for everyone, and I see a lot of those traits in young people now, and in people acting out and going through tough times because of this quarantine and what's going on. And so I would just say, like, everybody should stick to it, stick to the things that you love, the things that make you happy.
I'm sorry that you felt like that about fame in your 20s. Like, that makes me so sad, because I mean,
I did used to, though, and I've spoken about, like, you know, how it caused some depression and some anxiety and things like that, and I've dealt with that my whole life. And so I like to be quite open about it. I'm like on a couple of, like, I do a lot of work with people who, I talk to a PTSD counselor, I talk to a lot of people about this kind of stuff. And, you know, I think it's all about being honest about the way that you feel about things, and that's how you heal. And so it's like when you're trying to hide things that it gets worse. It's hard to confront things head on, but yeah, it's all about real family and real friends.